Books to get you out of a reading slump. First book on my list is Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. This is a thriller and I couldn't put it down. So it follows a husband who, following an accident that led to his wife going missing, goes on this retreat to a faraway island, and he sees somebody on that island who looks exactly like his missing wife. The next book on my list is Hope and Glory by Jendela Benson. So this is like a family drama, and I really like family dramas. You'll probably see quite a few of those on my stack. And it follows the main character, her name is Glory, and her family after the sudden death of her father. So she returns back to London. There is like a subplot of romance in this story, and I really enjoyed it. The next book on my list is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. Now this is a pretty short read, as you can see. I personally didn't rate it that high. I think I gave it maybe 2.5 or maybe 2.5 stars, just because I felt like I wanted more. I wanted to get to know the characters more. It did leave you with questions, but like I said, these books are to help get you out of a slump. They're not all going to be 5-star reads. The next book on my list is Girls in Trouble by Caroline Leavitt. So this book follows an open adoption gone wrong. It was the first book to ever make me shed a tear, and it's just a drama. And I think that when it comes to getting out of a slump, I need something that's gonna grab my attention, but also hold it as well. This book definitely does that. The next book on my list is Out of Love by Hazel Hayes. Now, this book is a love story told backwards. I've never read a book like that, and I appreciated the emotional realness in this book. And this was before I ever started annotating books, so I don't have any annotations, but if I remember correctly, there are some good gems in here just about life. The next book on my list is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides, I think is how you pronounce his name. Now this book has been all over TikTok. I'm sure that you've heard of it. I haven't read other books by Alex Michaelides, but The Silent Patient, for me, it was a little bit predictable. But again, this book was just to help get me out of a slump. It was a unique storyline. I hadn't read anything like it. I'm really picky when it comes to thrillers or psychological suspense books, and this one did scratch the itch for me. The next book on my list, yes, it is another family drama. It does follow two families. It's called Ask Again Yes by Mary Beth Keane. And this book follows two families and then the journey to forgiveness. And it just really makes you think. And it is just, I thought it was a really well-written story. Next book on the list is another book by Caroline Leavitt, and it's called Cruel Beautiful World. So I believe that this book, again, if I remember correctly, it is set in the backdrop of the 80s. Is that when the Manson murders happened? I don't know. I don't remember. I have to look it up because now it's killing me. So not the 80s, more like the late 60s and 70s. So that is the backdrop of this book. It is considered a historical fiction, but it does follow a 16-year-old girl named Lucy who is about to run away with a much older man to live off the grid in rural Pennsylvania. And then we deal with the repercussions of the decisions that people made. Okay, so this next book does have a special place in my heart. It was my favorite book growing up, and I'm gonna age myself, but I first read this book in middle school, which was probably back in 2007 or 8. It's considered sci-fi, but it's called The House of the Scorpion by Nancy Farmer. This book follows Matt, who he was harvested in the womb of a cow. He's a clone. And what's important is who he was cloned from. And it's just a really great book about identity and friendship. The last book on my list is Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing is by Rebecca Yarros, and honestly, I've read other books by Rebecca and I really do enjoy her writing. I enjoyed Fourth Wing. It was my first time as an adult getting dipping my toe into fantasy. The way that Rebecca Yarros writes, you're just in the story. You are just with the characters. You get to know the characters. I feel they're very well developed, even the side characters. But Fourth Wing, I thought it was a really easy to follow fantasy just got me back into reading, and I see that as a really popular opinion on TikTok. So these were all the books that I recommend to help get you out of a reading slump. Hope you enjoyed.